We're Sid and Mackie, and since 2014, we've been racing mountain bikes professionally and traveling in our van. At the beginning of this year, we set some big goals.
I'm really glad that Sid made me coffee for this conversation.
But 2021 was full of surprises and curveballs. How did I win? Now, as 2022 approaches, it's time to look back and see if we accomplished what we set out to.
So I would give myself a 75%.
We want to thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. One of the things we focused on this year to help us achieve our goals was dialing in our nutrition for better performance and recovery. As you know if you've been watching the channel, eating wins races. However, we spent most of this year on the road in our van, and van life makes it hard to keep lots of fresh fruits and veggies on hand. We turned to AG1 from Athletic Greens to help fill the holes in our diet and ensure we were getting what we needed. AG1 is a green powder made up of 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a more comprehensive dietary supplement on the market. Also, Athletic Greens is constantly tweaking their formula to stay up to date with the latest research. So click the link in our bio to get started with Athletic Greens.
So, it's been a year.
It's been a year. It has been a year.
It has been a year.
Not quite as much of a year as 2020.
No.
I think everyone would agree with that, but I also think 2021 still had quite a few bumps.
Surprises?
Yeah. Surprises,
Well, there was
curveballs,
Delta,
never-ending pandemic.
Omicron. Anybody else feel like Omicron sounds like the name of the bad guy in Transformers? It's not. I looked it up, but it does sound like it as far as I'm concerned.
We're not here to talk about Transformers. We're not
Or
here to talk about
pandemics.
COVID. Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah.
We're here to talk about goals and whether or not we achieved ours in 2021.
This year might be one of the more challenging years I've asked people to set goals for.
It can be very easy to set goals in January in the new year and then
Ignore them for
kind
the
of
rest of the
forget
year.
about them.
Yeah.
We did sit down with our coach, Mike, and discuss goals.
I'm really glad that Sid made me coffee for this conversation.
We did that in January of this year. It is now December, so what better time than to reflect back on the year and see if we did what we said we were going to do. I think I should preface this by saying if you haven't been watching our channel for a while, I had a major injury in 2020. In January of 2021, I was in really, really rough shape. I think that was actually kind of a low point. We had moved to Boulder in November of that year and I started doing rehab and things went really well for a couple of weeks. And then I think January was kind of that time when sort of realized how long it was going to take.
Yeah. It was like, cool, I can do this, working out, improving. And then it was like, oh, actually, this is going to be hard.
So that's where these goals came from.
Number one was
To be able to do sort of functional movements with good form, which is not really something, I don't think I've ever done push-ups properly. This goal would kind of be like push-ups, planks, pull-ups, squats.
So I would give myself a 75% on that one. I still can't do pull-ups. I was working on squat form for a very long time, and I think my goal was just to be able to do body weight squats properly, but I've been able to exceed that and actually do fairly heavy-ish squats, and that's something I'm going to be able to build on this off-season. That was a huge focus, and we didn't quite get to the pull-up side of things, but overall, I would say I get a 75% completion on that goal. What was your first goal?
goal number one, which Sid, who was editing the video, summarized as do everything better, which seems a little unfair. Instead of being as focused on starting things and trying new things, I want to be more focused and better about the things that I'm already doing. Videos, training, competing more
Which is a very good goal. I'm sorry I made fun of it. You just didn't express it very well, and it sounded like you were going to do everything better, which is a very Mackie goal. But the things you mentioned were editing better videos, better training, better racing.
I feel like I was successful in those. I feel like our videos this year have improved. I think I trained well this year. I followed my training schedule, communicated well with Mike so he could adjust things as necessary. And then I definitely had some race successes this year.
Which we'll talk about a little bit more in, I think, your second goal. The second goal I talked about was
Fixing postural issues and just having better posture in general.
I get a check mark for completing that, but also like a ding for bad goal setting because that's very vague. I didn't really put anything quantifiable there. Obviously, all the strength work I have done and all the mobility work I've been doing has improved my posture. I wouldn't say I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, I fixed all of these, upper back issues. There's still plenty to work on there, but I did it, most of it.
Overall, better posture, better strength, better mobility. So yeah, check mark. Goal number 2 for me was I would like to feel like I'm sort of back to the point or stronger from like a pure fitness point as I was when I was racing only cross country. Think I was successful in that. I mean, I don't have 23-year-old Mackie to race against and find out.
I would also say that getting cross-country fit is not that quantifiable, but we do have quite a bit of evidence from this year that Mackie did achieve that. He raced a ton of cross-country races, starting with Iron Horse. Come on, babe!
Iron Horse, bicycle classic!
Hey, Maggie! Dude, you still got it!
And I think after that race, you definitely were like, ooh, okay, like the fitness isn't there.
I think the best way to summarize is I felt good. Mentally, I was there. I rode well. I just don't have the fitness that I want yet.
So it was really cool to see, like, between May and July, when national champs, that you were able to get quite a bit of cross-country fitness back.
There we have it, our men's single speed off and underway, men's 50 to 54. Let's welcome our defending.
And then from there, he went on and raced Breck Epic on a single speed, which obviously takes a massive amount of cross-country fitness, as well as pretty good descending skills to do all of those descents on a hardtail for 6 days straight.
In 2012, which was kind of what I was comparing against, I also raced Breck Epic single speed. I won it then. But looking at the times, like I kind of compared them, I'm pretty sure my times were significantly faster this year. So that's a combo of like having similar fitness, but the descending skills that I never had.
Okay, so the last goal that I set in January of 2021 was
Start training again.
to start training again on the bike by the end of the year. I will say at that moment, that sounded like truly an impossibility.
Are you saying that you set an impossible goal? Because that is not good goal setting.
No, I'm just saying that it felt very out of reach, and so therefore I didn't really elaborate much on like what that would look like, I had a bit of a different vision of how I would feel when I was doing those things, and I think that is worth talking about a bit, because that's really a trap with goal setting in general, is that we set a goal and we think that when we achieve it, we will be like a different person because we achieved that.
It's like everything will be perfect because you achieved it.
Well, in this case, I was envisioning like, I would start training, be completely pain-free, be like back to full fitness, and that's not really what happened. I did start training in mid-September. I did my first intervals then. I was able to train through October and race Iceman on November 6th. I did learn at Iceman that I do have quite a bit more fitness work that I need to be doing. This was not a surprise, but it was still like, I think a little discouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did set the goal of training again by the end of the year, not being back to 100% by
exactly.
the end of the year.
Yeah. So
that could be next year's goal.
That's a check.
Yes, you get 100%. Final goal for me was to be a very well-rounded rider. So I'd like to be able to stick with the really fast guys in cross-country races, but also, drop people like they're not moving on descents. Once again, kind of vague, but I think I sort of knew what I meant when I said that.
I think maybe a good way of quantifying this in the future, if this is a further goal, is like doing races of a bunch of different disciplines, which you definitely did. Like you did a road race. You did several mountain bike cross-country races. You did single speed races. You did a 12-hour race. You did a 50-mile race.
Jared, good work! Nice grab!
You did an enduro race. did a short track race at Nationals. That didn't go so well, but...
No, not so well. I think for me it was being able to do all of those different disciplines and do fairly well at them.
Yeah.
And I would say I succeeded in that. I won single speed nationals. I won the 50 miler.
You guys won the 12-hour.
I won Breck Epic, which was a stage race, which we forgot to mention. I got second at Moab Rocks, which was a stage race but geared, and I got third at the Steamboat Enduro, which was an enduro. I'm extremely pleased with that, and it makes me feel like I succeeded in my goal of being a well-rounded rider. You're going to try to wrap up now, but I want to point out one other thing, which is that while it was not in this video, you did make a very clear, specific goal of racing Iceman Cometh.
Signed up for a bike race.
And 100% achieved that. I think you need to be really proud of that. Because when we made this video, like you were not...
That wasn't on the radar at all.
There was no like, oh, I'm going to be able to race this year. It was like, I would like to be able to ride my bike again this year.
Yeah.
And not only did you ride your bike and start training, but you were able to do a race and finish it. And it was hard and you did not do well, but like you did a bike race, and that's huge.
I did the thing. Let us know if you have big goals for 2022. We're still working on what our 2022 goals will be. Things look a lot different now than they did in January of this year, so we're pretty excited. We also have a big secret that we've been keeping.
It's true.
It's very big.
It's very big.
Literally. And we will be announcing that in our next video. So don't go anywhere. Hit the subscribe button. Stick around. Join on Patreon because we've already told them our big secret. If you're a patron, don't tell everybody in the comments.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the surprise.
Don't ruin the surprise. Yeah. And we will see you next Friday.
In the meantime, don't forget
to be more awesome.